Hi, girls and grays. Thank you so much for clicking this video and learning how you can become a fashion designer. I'm super excited and honored to introduce today's guest. Not only is she a fashion designer, but she is my personal friend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Emmanuella. How are
Hi
you?
everyone. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you, girl, for asking. I'm super excited to have you talk to my mentees. Are you
I'm
excited?
very excited. I'm happy to do this.
Yes, yes, yes. So you remember in college what I used to say to people when I introduced you?
Something about Ghana, Queen, something like that. I try
Yeah.
hard to forget it because
Y'all, when I met Emmanuella, I was just like, oh my gosh, I love your name. So anytime I would introduce her to someone, I was like, yeah, you need to bow or curtsy.
oh yeah,
Queen.
no,
You
no, 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 no.
look
Don't do that. I'm nobody to bow down to.
like the Bridgerton, where you just curtsy, just you're in the presence of a queen, period, Manuela. So thank you, girl, for sharing your experience and how you became a fashion designer. So we always love to start off with learning like your background. So tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you went to school, and how did you end up in your like career field as far as like fashion design?
Well, I'm Emmanuella, as Elizabeth introduced me as. I'm originally from Worcester, Massachusetts. I was born in Boston, but I moved to Worcester when I was about 7. So I typically just say I'm from here because I've lived here most of my life. I went to high school here, middle school, elementary school, and I was in the health field at first. And then God kind of, took me out of that place and moved me to fashion school, which I decided to go to the Savannah College of Art and Design. And I come from a very tight knit family. Me and my family are very close. My parents are Ghanaian, so I do consider myself Ghanaian, but just born and raised in America.
Love that. Yes. So I think that's a fun fact in itself. Like you literally wanted to be a doctor and you
I
became
did.
a
I
doctor.
really did. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a doctor until I can say junior year of high school. Just everything just took a turn when I decided that it's not really a passion I had because I did start sewing at 10 years old and it became something I love doing. And I didn't know that I can turn that into a career. And I guess God had other plans for me and it is a career now.
I love that. Because like if he did not reorder your steps to SCAD, we would have never met.
Exactly.
I met Emanuela, I think it was like, was that a history of fashion class
Your fashion. Yeah, I think I
fitting?
I was a junior and you were a junior. Yeah, we were
Yeah, we
both.
were same
Yeah.
grade. I remember you were sitting in front of me, you had an iPad and you had a scripture on your, I think it was your lock screen.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you a Christian? And she was like, yes. And then we was just became friends ever since then.
I'm just like, what you know about Christianity? Why are you asking me that question? Because a lot of people they do talk about like, oh, are you a Christian and this and that, but it's not like it doesn't come from a genuine place, and it's like you just want to be careful who you're letting into your life. So I didn't know I'll build like such a strong friendship with Elizabeth that I have today.
Yes, and no, that's really truth. And one thing about Emanuela, she don't play about her faith. So don't be asking about her Jesus if you ain't about her Jesus, okay? Don't play with her. But I was like, girl, I got the fruits of the spirit on my lock screen, girl. Hello.
Yes.
So I love that. So with all of the career fields, and you kind of touched into it on your first when you first answered about like how you transitioned from the desire of being a doctor to choosing fashion design. But what allowed you to like just honestly say like out of everything, out of all the careers that I could ever choose, I want to be a fashion designer.
Well, like I said, I always wanted to be a doctor since I was a child. So even through middle school and high school, any program that I was in tailored to like the health field, even I went to internships that was health based. I went to not clinicals, but it was more so like almost like clinicals for like a week. I did all of those things and I just wasn't happy when I was doing them, but in the back of my mind I knew that this is my career choice. This is how I'm going to make money. This is my living.
Yeah.
But since I've been sewing since I was 10, that's just been like a side thing that I always been doing. I always sewed for myself, whether it was for semi-formal. When I was going to have a prom, I was going to make my prom dress. Like I make clothes for customers all the time because my mom does own a shop here in Worcester, Massachusetts. So I'm always helping her. I'm with her 24/7. So just sewing and designing is just something I love to do. And even in art class, like if you ask me to make something, like to draw something just from looking at a picture, I can draw it just like I've never even like tried to draw before, but just me doing it, I can do it so quick and easy. So I didn't know that maybe sketching or something was for me, but at the time it just seemed natural to me and it's something just like oh, I just know how to draw. That's it. So when I got to I'll say sophomore year of high school, sorry. That's when we started like taking the college readiness and stuff seriously. And we were applying for, not really applying for colleges, but like kind of putting the colleges you want to go to the side for junior year, because that's when we started applying for colleges. And I had a lot of colleges that I wanted to go to that were in my state that centered around like the health field because I wanted to get into pre-med so I could become an obstetrician.
Wow.
And even though like becoming a doctor was something I wanted to do, I'm not really the school type. Like I love school, but I don't want to be in it forever. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are pursuing that career that are now starting. And I know some people who have siblings who also went into pre-med that they're now getting into the residency and they're almost in their 30s. And that's just something I never really desired. Like I feel like I just enjoyed the idea of becoming a doctor, but I didn't actually want to take the steps to become one.
Yeah.
So when it got to my junior year of college, I keep saying college, sorry, my junior year of high school, I started researching fashion schools because I was like, maybe if this is something that is for me, I want to at least know which school I'd go to. So I didn't know anything about SCAD at the time. I didn't know anything about Georgia. So my first instinct was to go to FIT because it was very close to home. It's like a 3 hour drive.
Right.
I knew that I can go and come back anytime I wanted to. And it was New York. Who doesn't want to be in New York?
Yeah.
So I think the application process was very long and it was just so tedious and it was just a lot for me at the time. But I kind of just, I still did it, but I didn't get accepted because their system is kind of different. It's like a 2 year program. So it's just like, whatever. So all the other schools I applied for, again, it was so much, the process was just so long. So it's like I started, but I didn't finish. So I remember one day I went into the kitchen and my mom was like, have you ever tried Georgia? And I was like, they have fashion schools in Georgia. So then I started researching like fashion schools in Georgia and I seen SCAD.
Mm.
And but I seen the the Savannah branch. I didn't see the Atlanta one.
Okay.
But at the time I was watching YouTubers who lived in Atlanta. I was like, I want to go to Atlanta one day. So I don't know how, but I just seen that SCAD had an Atlanta campus, and I was like, that's the school I want to go to.
Wow.
And it's crazy how God works because when I was in, when I actually made it to SCAD, I was a sophomore and everything. That's when I found out that Massachusetts actually has an art school. So I'm like, how this entire time of my process of trying to find an art school to go to, I never saw that my own state had one until I actually entered SCAD. So I'm like, maybe God was trying to blind my eyes because he knew that if I went to that school, maybe it wouldn't have worked out, or maybe that's not the school he wanted me to go to. That's why I didn't notice it at the time. So when junior year happened in high school, I took a leap of faith. I prayed. My mom prayed. My whole family was praying for me that if I got into SCAD, that's the direction that God wants me to go in. And I just remember walking home from school one day, receiving the email that you've been accepted into SCAD. And I remember calling my mom, telling my friend, well, actually, I don't think I told my friends, but I told like one friend because we had like this thing that we were doing where we will choose a day that we're going to tell each other what college we are going to. So I didn't really announce it to a lot of people except for my family. And they were happy for me. I was happy for me. And I was thankful to God that he kind of opened my eyes to know that this is the path I want you to take. And that's how I ended up in SCAD.
I love that. Yes, in the ATL with your
I
peach.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back. But when you transition into your collegiate journey, how did you keep the faith? Like how has your faith been a big pillar in your journey as a designer?
Well, in the beginning, it was hard for me because during that time was COVID and I was at home. I decided not to go on campus. I stayed at home and the classes that we had to take at that time was more so like drawing and sketching, illustration, all these things that I'm not familiar with.
Mhm.
Body parts, things I've never done a day in my life. So it was really, really hard for me to, I feel like in the entire class, I was the one who was behind because I just didn't have that knowledge. I feel like everyone who came to that school had prior knowledge of like sketching and stuff, and I just never did because I came from the health field
Mm,
into this. The only thing I knew how to do was sew, and but that's not what we started with.
mm,
So a lot of times I would like get frustrated when I saw that I had a bad grade. I would cry to my mom saying that I don't know if this is for me. Like it was just so hard to get a good grade. And that's when I knew that my faith was lacking because like of course God says that we're gonna go through the storm, but he's gonna be with us. So I'm not supposed to get an A every assignment. I'm not supposed to go into these classes knowing that I'm gonna pass successfully. Sometimes you're gonna have to struggle in order to fight through. And you also have to put that faith in to fight through. You can't fight through with your own understanding and thinking like, oh, because I'm a good student, I'm gonna get a good grade. So freshman year, definitely I struggled a lot with having faith, but it turned around very well for me because when it got towards the end, my mom is I would say my mom was part of like the reason why my faith just kept getting higher and higher, even when I just felt like defeated. She
yeah.
always told me to trust God, like to keep praying. And that's what I kept doing. And, you know, at the end of the day, I did pass my freshman year with good grades, even though like I'm a scholar. I feel like I'm a scholar and I want to always get the best of the best, but I got what would allow me to pass, and that was enough.
Yeah.
So when it got to sophomore year, I kind of fell back again because that's when I ended up on campus where I'm in a whole different state that I've never been to a day in my life. I don't have any friends there. I don't have any family there. I was dropped off. My family is gone, and now I'm like I have to rely on myself, and I have to rely on God to carry me through this sophomore year where I wasn't really a big fan of my roommates. I didn't talk to them. I felt alone. I'm not really good in history, which we had history classes, and I struggled a lot in those classes too. It was just a lot, and I kept calling my mom, telling her how hard these classes were, and then I keep getting bad grades and this, and that, all these things that I should have been telling God first before I tell
Mm,
mom. But I was telling her first because I don't know, I don't want to say I didn't trust God because of course I trust God, but it's it's like a human thing to just like sometimes lack faith, which we shouldn't do, but we do it anyway. So when it got towards the end of course, God came through for me because I started putting back that faith that I should have had in the beginning. And
yeah.
then from sophomore year going to my senior year, the faith was unmatched. Like I didn't, even if I got a bad grade, I knew that God was gonna come through for me.
That's
And
good.
there has been times where God has came through for me because I can literally I remember having a history class. I'm really bad in history. It doesn't matter what the topic is, I'm just really bad in it. I
Mm,
didn't get no C, no B, no A in that class ever. It was always D's. Every exam was a D.
mm.
But I passed that class with a B. I
But
don't know how.
people, but God. Okay, people.
I don't know. It wasn't me, but I know who it was. It was the one above. So that's how I just know that when you trust in God, He's definitely gonna come through for you in the most mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's just how it carried me through. I just kept trusting God. I didn't let things bother me. Even if I got a bad grade, if I had to sleep overnights, if I had to like, even if I didn't have to, like, if I didn't eat, I just know that at the end of the day, I'm going towards a goal and I can't get to that goal without God. So he carried me through my entire college years.
I love it. No, we both could testify because it's not just sleepless nights, but like you said, it's sacrifice. You don't always get to go home.
Exactly. Yeah.
The workload. A lot of us chose to stay on campus during spring break because you want to get
Yeah.
ahead of the courses.
Mm-hmm.
Me, myself, and two with the history classes, I actually retook architect history because I was like, wait a minute, child, you want me to remember the building, the year, and
Yeah, it was a lot. It was just too
everything
much.
too after three. Like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
so it is a lot of work. It's a lot of mental work and labor. But I love how you said that through the process, you built so much faith that it was like even when it was getting tough, you knew you were gonna overcome that. And that's
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
I have Girls and Grace as a pillar to girls to see that their faith can move mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just so important to hear from all of the individuals that I've interviewed so far that everyone has echoed that same thing that their faith has moved mountains. So with
Mm-hmm.
you graduating and with you continuing to be a Christian, I really would love for you to share with the mentees how important your faith is. You designed your senior collection in honor of God. So can you
Mm-hmm.
share that story, that concept, and what inspired you to represent God during your senior year?
Okay, so initially I'm just that type of person where like when it comes to like designing and being creative, my brain kind of lacks that because I didn't come from that place. I came from a place where we do vital signs, we do temperatures, we do are you okay, like bathrooms, stuff like that. So when it comes to being creative, it's very, very hard for me to create like an idea. Even to this day, it's still hard for me to create an idea. It takes very long for me to find out like this is what I want to do. So in my senior class, I think I was the only one who didn't know what I was doing. Like I didn't know how to create mood boards in a way that kind of showed what I wanted to design. It kind of just made no sense. So I remember I took a trip to New York. I went to the Met Museum and I came through a collection about armor. So I was like, that's interesting. Like I haven't seen anybody use armor. And then since it kind of just dawned on my heart to bring my religion into it, me being a Christian, and I decided to go with Ephesians 6, the armor of God.
Yeah.
So when I decided that that's what I wanted to do, I took my inspiration from what I saw in the Met, and then I took the Bible verses from Ephesians 6, and I just joined it together. So now the thing that was hard is how am I going to make something look like armor?
Mm.
And I mean, I'm not rich, so I don't know where I'm gonna get these materials from because metal isn't cheap and leather isn't cheap. So I had to do a lot of research. I went to a lot of shops, leather shops, and the price they were giving me, if I had the funds to do it, I definitely would have done it. But I was just a college student. I wasn't working at the time. So I didn't want to force myself to do something that I personally couldn't afford just to show that, oh, I did my collection, like is my collection, this is what I want to do for the collection. So whatever I bring to the table to make this collection, as long as it's showing Ephesians 6 and it makes sense to me, that's all that mattered.
Okay.
I didn't really care what my professors thought and listen to what they said. This is my relationship with God and how I'm going to show that through my designs.
Yes.
So I started with I used, what is that fabric called? Vinyl.
Mhm.
And if you know vinyl, it is tough. It's almost like leather, but it has that shiny look to it. So I was like, okay, this is going to replicate the metal.
Mm.
And then I went to one of the fabric stores in Atlanta and I found this nice like knitted lace that was gray. And as soon as I seen it, I knew that this was going straight into my collection because it replicated the the what's it called? Like the type of metal hat that they used to wear in war. So those two fabrics were the main things I was using. I knew the colorways was going to be gray because metal, gray, it all correlates together.
Yeah.
So when I was creating each piece has a place in the Bible. So I had the chest plate, which was a corsetting. I had the hat part, which is the protection over your head. Some of them, doesn't correlate with the Bible 100%, but it still has something to do with war.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the girdle, I had like a ball gown dress where I had one of the girls put on something that replicated the girdle. So every piece in the collection has a place in Ephesians 6.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to really replicate it a lot because a lot of people don't read the Bible. They don't know anything about Ephesians 6. Some people are not even Christians. So I wanted my collection to be able to demonstrate where my thought process was when I'm creating this so that people from the outside looking in can understand, oh, this is how she got her idea or why she chose to do this or why she chose to sew this or make this or design this, whatever.
Right.
So I did that. And again, it was hard because I went through a lot of trials and errors because a lot of things didn't make sense to
Mhm.
me. It didn't make sense because it didn't correlate with the Bible. It's more so like I'm just designing at this point. But I really wanted it to mesh with the Bible 100% that when someone from the outside is looking at my collection and let's say they're a Christian, they can say, like, oh, so this is this, or this is that. And that's exactly what I wanted.
That's
And that's exactly what happened. Like after everything graduating, I was asked to present my collection in my downtown here in Worcester in one of the windows. And it's still here today. It's going to be up for a year. And we had like a ceremony where all the designers will be able to explain their collection or whatever they displayed in the window. And one of the ladies, she went up to my window and she was saying, oh, so this is the girdle, this is the breastplate. And I'm just like, yeah, like you really get the vision of what I was trying to portray. And it made me feel so good that I was able to represent God in such a way that not a lot of people do. Like I
Right.
know people who are Christians who create like brands. It's like it's clear as day that they're Christian because it says, "Oh yes, Lord," or it says, "Oh,
Across.
walk by faith, not by." Like, of course, I'll know that's from the Bible, but to have clothes
Yeah.
where it represents God in a way that you would really have to know God to understand it, it really meant a lot to me.
Yes, no, and it's so beautiful. If you don't mind, I want to put like little pictures as you're talking
Of
to
course.
slide.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so grand for me, it was like this wasn't like ready to wear silhouettes. You did like ball gowns,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
actual gowns, which, another pillar to that I take as a Christian is we are the bride of Christ. So it was so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful to see that all of these looks was giving ballroom gown.
Yeah.
Of course, our university is like you have to be officially accepted into the academy to be called couture. But baby, you gave couture and it gave couture and it gave couture. And I say it again, it gave couture. It was ready to be on the couture runway of Paris Fashion Week. It was legit. It was
Thank you.
concise. It was cohesive. And even with the color scheme, I really did love that gray because it just all correlated and it just popped. And so
Thank
your photo shoot was killer. Her. Like you were the director of that too. Like, and I think a lot of people sleep on the fact of like when you are a fashion designer, especially as an independent fashion designer, you wear all the hats of the development phases.
you. Yeah.
Like I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to one of our friends from school, and I was like, I feel like the brand owner, but then I'm also the brand producer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
two different ways to see light. And
Yeah,
so when it
exactly.
comes to your brand and your business, how have you been able to balance all of the hats, the entrepreneur hat, the HR hat, the marketing hat, the social media hat, the ability to sew and do your custom hat? Like, how have you been able to balance all of the traits that run along with being an independent fashion designer?
I would say it's more so just determination, um, including God in everything that you do, all your plans and everything. You also have to put in the work too,
Yes,
because God is not just gonna give it to you when you haven't even shown Him that you can handle it.
yes,
So for me, it's more so like making sure my time management is on top of like is up to par. Like if I know that I'm doing all of these things by myself, I'll make time every day, even if it's not every day and every other day or once a week. I make sure that like I put everything in my plan. So if I know I have to sketch, I'll be like, okay, this weekend I'm gonna sketch for this, however, or I have to sketch these designs. And then maybe next week, then I'm gonna start researching on like maybe I want to do this or I want to do that.
right.
And then the next week after that, I'll start talking to vendors or whatever it is, whatever your goal is, whatever your plan is for your business in fashion or whatever it is. You just have to really plan everything out. Planning is very important. It's very important to me because without my schedule and me writing down my to-do list, none of the things I'm able to do would even be possible. Like even right now, I'm still working on this other collection, this other idea that's been put on my heart for me to start. Like, I'm not gonna let I work a full-time job
Right.
and I'm not gonna let that stop me from wanting to pursue other things in life. Like I have to put my best foot forward because I don't want to be where I am right now where I am. I don't want to be there forever. That's not the goal, that's not the plan because I know God has better things for me and I know that my life is not my name is not to this company that I'm working for. It's not supposed to be like that forever. That's not what is in my heart. And that's not what I wanted when I said I wanted to be a fashion designer. That's just where God placed me because that's what He wants for me for now.
Yes.
But the plans I want for the future, I have to work hard to get there. And I'm just going to keep planning things, being determined. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep trusting, knowing that my future is bright because, even in Jeremiah 29:11, He knows the thoughts He thinks for us, not to hurt us, not to harm us, but to prosper us. So I trust that. And I know that if I keep working hard for what I want, He's definitely going to come through for me. He's even going to give me the plan, the resources I need to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Y'all see why we friends? This is vitamin C's. You have friends that are like-minded, especially when it comes to your faith, because as
Yeah,
you said,
yeah.
like it is the anchor. It is the anchor of everything. And prophetically, when I entered into the art industry and was going off to SCAD, I had an aunt that literally prophesied and said, the creator created you to create. So when
Mm,
you know that you are designed by God to create these things, it is an honor, it's a privilege, and it's due
Yeah.
back to Him. And so,
Hmm.
just real, brief, what would be like one advice that you would give to the younger Emanuela when it comes to faith, fashion, or life? Like, what would you tell your younger self?
Um, I would tell my younger self just to keep doing what you love.
Mm,
Just keep doing what you love because even though I did want to be a doctor. If you were to look at my pictures from when I was a kid, I was always dressing up. I
mm.
was always taking my shirts and like taking one hand out to do like a
I
what's it
did
called?
that too,
One
Carla.
hand,
That
and
was
I'll
fun.
just be when my mom is sleeping, I'll go put on her heels. I'll create like different type of styles with my skirt. So even though that time I was nowhere near knowing I wanted to be a fashion designer, you can tell that was something that was living inside of me. I just didn't know it yet. And
Yeah,
if I didn't keep pushing that, even when I got older, I loved doing my hair. Every week for church, I was doing a different style. Like people at church were saying, "You're so young to be doing it," not in like a bad way, but like just the
yeah,
fact that I love braiding my hair. I love doing different styles. Like they were so just amazed that I'm just like doing my own hair at such a young age. And I dress myself like, if you looked at my old pictures, you would say that I didn't know how to dress. But I mean, that's what I had at the time and I worked with it. I'm
yeah.
just a kid. Obviously, I'm not going to get the things I want, but what I had is what I worked with. And
Mm,
you can just tell that it was just living within me. I just didn't know it yet.
I love
So
that.
for me to be in a position where my mom sews and I ended up learning how to sew too is just a gift that God has given me because if my mom didn't sew, I probably wouldn't be sewing and I probably wouldn't be here today. So if I'm to tell my younger self or any younger girl out there is to just keep doing what you love. Everything will fall into place. Once you put God into the center, you put God in the forefront of everything that you're doing, He's going to direct your plans. Even if you think that you're going to be a doctor, but you love doing makeup, you don't know where God is going to take you. If you love doing hair, but you're in nursing school, you really don't know where God's going to take you until you actually get there. So
Yeah,
just keep doing what you love, keep perfecting your skills. If you're good at something, keep doing it because you really don't know where it's going to take you. If you're good at presenting, keep posting on social media. Like I'm just a believer that where you start is not it's not your ending. You're not going to be there forever because I see a lot of people who are on social media that their social media platform is not growing and then that one day it just goes crazy. Like everyone loves your content, everyone is all over you, and that's just the work of God. Like He'll put you where you need to be at the right time. So yeah, just keep pushing, keep working hard, don't give up, don't feel like you have to give up because it's not working for you, but you don't know what is in the works for you with God.
that's a word right there. It may not be in the works for you, but you don't know what's in the works. So, God, you better quote that, Emanuela. I love that. So, and the biggest thing about this interview is educating our young ladies on the process to becoming a fashion designer. So, you went through the collegiate way. You got your a degree in fashion design, but obviously, it just takes a passion, God, and the timing to really
Yeah.
become a designer. So, what would you say are like 3 to 4 steps to becoming a fashion designer?
Honestly, and this can be in anything. School isn't the way to success. It's not because there's a lot of people who have not gotten any degree, but they're making more money than me, or making more money than a doctor, or making more money than so many other people in different career fields. It's more so like if it's your passion and you really want to become great in that craft, just keep working on it because nobody became the best of the best overnight. It took time. There's a lot of people who have been doing makeup when you saw their work 4 years ago to compare to what you're seeing today,
Yes.
if they gave up in 2020, they wouldn't be where they are today. So I'll say number one, just if you're good at something, just keep perfecting it. It doesn't matter how much you think you're bad at it, just keep working on it because nobody became the best of the best overnight.
Oh,
Two, if school is something you do want to do, just so you can get like just a degree, a paper to say that I went to school and I got this degree, do it too. Because also there's benefits with going to school because the job I work today, I work for a well-known company and I wouldn't have gotten that job if I didn't go to school. So there's perks to going to school, and then there's a downfall if you don't. It depends on what your career path is, because some people don't want to do the job that I'm doing now, and that's fine. You don't have to, which means you don't have to go to school for it. But
Right.
if you want to own your own business, maybe have a boutique or maybe do sewing classes, that just comes from within. You have to just have the talent, you have to have the gift, you have to work hard to perfect your craft. And then three, I'll say, mm, I'll just say, like, don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of us beat ourselves down when things don't go our way, or we feel like we're losers, or
Behind.
like just like, why isn't my life going the way that I thought it was gonna go? Like, we're nobody is perfect. Nobody's life is going to change overnight. You have to really put your best foot forward, and that goes with everything that you're doing. Like, there's nothing is easy in this world. If things come easy to you, sometimes it's even questionable, because even God doesn't work that way. Like, God doesn't make things easy for you to forget that God even exists. He wants you to really trust in him. He wants you to keep praying to him. He wants you to keep believing that even if my life isn't where it is today, it's not going to be the same forever. So everything is a time thing where, life changes, people change, your skills are going to change too. Like, nothing is going to be the same forever. And then the last thing I'll say is just to keep the faith. Faith is very, very, very important. Very, very important. Like, I emphasize that a lot, because I wouldn't be where I am today without my faith.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I know wouldn't be where they are today without their faith. So if you, like they say, faith without works is dead. You
Yeah.
can have all the faith, but don't be lazy. Like,
Right.
work hard for what you want, so you can come back and say that, I did my best and God did the rest.
Yeah.
I want to say that one day. So,
You,
so just trust in God. Believe that He has best good things in store for you. Don't let the enemy try to make you feel like you're not good enough or you can't do it, because you definitely can do it, because we have a Father who's with us, who's guiding us and leading us, and He will see us through all our trials,
yes.
and we will be victorious at the end. Like, the ones who were laughing at us, He will sit us at a table in front of our enemies. So, yeah.
And you're not lying about that one because we done been through some things and we are able to look back and be like, boom.
Exactly.
I don't have to say anything. I'm spoken for. Well, everything that God has allowed you to share and speak are not only words of wisdom, but I'm leaving here with knowing that faith without works is dead. And
Mm-hmm.
so we support you. I will make sure to put your social media in the description so our girls can follow you and maybe DM you if they have any questions. But I truly appreciate you for just sharing not only your faith, but just your experience and how God has blessed you to become a fashion designer. And I'm looking forward to having mentees that's like, I became a fashion designer and I saw Emmanuella and Miss Elizabeth video, and that inspired me. So thank you, sis, so much for inspiring girls and grace on how to become a fashion designer. I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm happy. I'm honored to be here to talk, because I actually don't do stuff like this. So for me to really bring God into how I got to where I am today, I'm really honored to be here.
Yes. Well, thank you again. And if you love this video, please share with a friend. Leave us some positivity in the comment section. Don't
Yes.
forget to like the video. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you, Manuela.